listen to me. Never face the door at night. Do you understand? It is forbidden.
Yes, grandmother.
In the village of Amaru, this was not just advice, it was a warning. Old people said it quietly.
Tell your family never face the door at night while sleeping. Yes, it invites trouble. We must always remember.
Mothers repeated it to their children. Even visitors were told before they spent the night. Turn your bed away from the door, they would say. If you don't, you may not like what comes in. Amara did not believe it. She was 19 years old, young and strong, and she did not fear old stories. To her, they were just words people used to scare children at night. She had heard many warnings growing up. Do not sweep at night. Do not answer voices in the dark. Do not look into mirrors after midnight. Nothing had ever happened to her, so she stopped believing. One hot night, Amara returned home tired. The air was heavy, and her small room felt too warm to sleep in. She opened her window, but no breeze came in. Then she looked at her bed. Slowly, she dragged it. She turned it to face the door. If the air comes from outside, I will sleep better, she said to herself. She remembered her grandmother's voice for a moment. Never sleep facing the door. Amara rolled her eyes. I am not a child, she said softly. She lay down on her bed, facing the door directly. From where she rested her head, she could see the wooden door clearly. It was old, with small cracks running across it. The handle was slightly loose. Everything looked normal. She closed her eyes. The night grew quiet, too quiet. No insects, no wind, no voices outside. Just silence. After some time, Amara opened her eyes again. She didn't know why, but something felt wrong. Her body felt heavy, very heavy. She tried to move her hand. It did not move. She tried to move toward the door. It was slightly toward the door. It was slightly open. Amara's chest tightened. I closed it, she thought. I'm sure I closed it. Then a knock. The door moved, just a little, as if something touched it from the outside. Amara tried to shout, but her mouth refused to open. Fear rushed through her body like cold water. Then another knock. The door opened wider. The darkness outside looked strange, thicker than normal. It did not look like empty space. It looked like something was inside it, watching, waiting. Then, something stepped into the room. Amara's eyes widened in terror. It was tall, too tall. Its head almost touched the top of the door. Its body was long and thin, like it did not belong to this world. Its skin looked dark, almost like a shadow that had taken shape. It did not rush. It walked slowly. Step, 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 coming closer to her bed. Amara's heart pounded harder. She could not move. She could not scream. She could only watch. The thing stopped at the foot of her bed. For a moment it stood still. Then it bent down. Slowly, its face came close to hers. And that was when she saw it. Its eyes were wide open, too wide, and its mouth was smiling. A long, terrible smile. Then it whispered in a low, dry voice, "Why did you face the door?" A tear rolled down Amara's face. The thing reached for her chest. Her breathing became weak. Her vision started to blur. And then, suddenly, the rooster crowed outside. The sound cut through the silence. In an instant, the thing stopped. Its head turned slowly toward the door, then disappeared. The room became still again. Amara gasped. Her body jerked as she sat up suddenly. The room was empty. The door was still open. Everything looked normal again. Amara held her chest, breathing fast. It's over, she whispered. Her whole body was shaking. She looked around the room again. Nothing, no shadow, no sound. She touched her chest again. Then she froze. There were marks, long, dark finger marks, as if something had pressed into her skin. Amara quickly pushed back the bed to its normal position, away from the door. Her hands were shaking badly. I will never do that again, she said. The morning light slowly filled the room. Birds started singing outside. Everything felt safe again. But Amara did not feel safe. She could still feel it, that cold touch, that voice, that smile. She walked toward the door slowly. For a moment she hesitated, then she opened it. Outside was empty, bright, and normal. Amara let out a small breath. Then she looked down, and her heart stopped. On the floor, right in front of her door, were footprints, long, dark, not human, leading out of her room. and stopping right at her bed. Amara stepped back slowly. Her legs felt weak. Then she heard it again, very soft, very close, right behind her. Tonight, Amara's body froze. Don't turn your bed. Amara did not move. Her body felt stiff as the whisper stayed in her ears. She could not tell if it was real or if her mind was playing tricks on her. Slowly, very slowly, she turned around. No one was there. The room looked normal again. The bed stood where she had pushed it, now facing away from the door. The window was open, letting in soft morning light. The air felt fresh, but her chest still felt heavy. Amara held her breath for a moment, then let it out slowly. But deep inside, she knew something was wrong. She quickly stepped out of her room and went to find her grandmother. The old woman was sitting outside, sorting dry leaves into a small basket. Her face looked calm, but her eyes were always sharp, like she could see things others could not. "Grandma," Amara said, her voice shaking slightly. The old woman looked up at her once, then frowned. "You faced the door," she said immediately. Amara froze. "How did you know?" she asked. Her grandmother did not answer right away. She dropped the leaves slowly and stood up, walking closer to Amara. She reached out and touched her chest gently, right where the marks were hidden under her clothes. Amara gasped softly. "You felt it," the old woman said quietly. "It touched you." Tears filled Amara's eyes. "I couldn't move," she said. "It came into my room. It spoke to me." Her grandmother closed her eyes for a moment, like she was thinking deeply. Then she said something that made Amara's blood run cold. "It has seen you now." Amara shook her head quickly. "What does that mean?" "It means you are no longer just a person sleeping in a room," the old woman said. "You are someone it can return to." Fear grew inside Amara like fire. "No, it left when the rooster crowed," she said. "Morning came, and it disappeared." Her grandmother nodded slowly. "Yes, it always leaves at dawn," she said, "but it does not forget." Amara's hands started shaking again. "What is it?" she asked in a low voice. The old woman looked toward the door of the room. "In this village," she began slowly, "there are things that walk at night. They do not belong to this world, but they look for doors. Not just any door, but doors that are open in the wrong way." Amara listened carefully, her heart pounding. "When you sleep facing the door," the old woman continued, "you are inviting it. Your body becomes like a welcome mat. You cannot move because it holds you. You cannot scream because it takes your voice. And if it touches you," she paused. Amara swallowed hard. "What happens?" The old woman looked straight into her eyes. "It comes back," she said. Silence filled the space between them. Amara felt like the ground beneath her feet was no longer steady. "But it didn't take anything from me," Amara said quickly. "I'm still here." Her grandmother's face became serious. "Are you sure?" she asked. Amara hesitated. Slowly, she placed her hand on her chest again. The spot where the thing had touched her still felt cold, too cold, even in the warm morning air. Her breath became unsteady. "What did it take?" she whispered. Her grandmother did not answer immediately. Instead, she turned and walked slowly toward the room. "Come," she said. Amara followed her inside. The old woman stood at the doorway and looked at the floor carefully. Her eyes moved slowly, following something only she seemed to understand. Then she pointed down. "Look." Amara looked again at the footprint. It was still there. Long, dark, not human. But this time, she noticed something new. It was not only going out, there were also footprints coming in, and they stopped exactly at her bed. Amara's heart dropped. "It came for you," the old woman said softly. Amara shook her head. "Why me?" The old woman was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke in a low voice. "Because last night, you opened a door it has been waiting for." Amara felt fear rise again. "But my door was closed," she said. Her grandmother looked at her. "Not that door," she said. Amara's body went cold. "Then, which door?" she asked. The old woman stepped closer to her and touched her chest again. "This one." Amara's eyes widened. At that same moment, the door behind them made a soft sound. Tap. Both of them turned slowly. The door was moving. The door moved again. Tap, then a knock. Amara's breath caught in her throat as she stared at it. The morning light was already bright, and she could hear people outside talking and moving around the village. Everything felt normal outside, but inside the room, something was not right. "It should not come in the day," Amara whispered. Her grandmother did not answer immediately. The old woman's eyes stayed fixed on the door. Her face slowly became tight, like she was seeing something she did not expect. "That is not a good sign," she said quietly. The door creaked open just a little. Amara stepped back quickly, her heart pounding. "Grandma," she said, her voice shaking. "It's coming back." Her grandmother lifted her hand gently. "Stay behind me." Amara moved closer, her body trembling. The door stopped moving. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a cold wind entered the room. Amara felt it pass through her body like thin ice. She gasped softly and held her arms. "It's here," the old woman said. "But I can't see anything," Amara replied. Her grandmother shook her head slowly. "You will not always see it, but it can see you." Amara's chest tightened. The room became quiet again, too quiet. Even the sounds from outside seemed to fade away. Then suddenly, Amara felt it, a light touch on her back. She screamed and jumped forward, grabbing her grandmother tightly. "It touched me again," she cried. The old woman quickly turned and placed her hand on Amara's back. Her face changed immediately. "It is marking you," she said. Amara's eyes were still filled with tears. "What does that mean?" "It means it is trying to make your body its place," the old woman replied. "If it succeeds, it will not need the door anymore." Amara shook her head in fear. "No, no, I don't want that." The old woman held her shoulders firmly. "Listen to me carefully. You must be strong. Fear makes it closer." Amara tried to calm her breathing, but her body was still shaking. "What do I do?" she asked. Before her grandmother could answer, the door slammed shut. Bang! Both of them jumped. Amara screamed again and covered her ears. The room suddenly felt darker, even though it was still morning. Then, a voice filled the room, soft, dry, close. "You moved the bed." Amara's eyes widened in terror. It was the same voice, the same one from the night. Her grandmother stepped forward. "Leave her," she said firmly. A low laugh echoed in the room. "You cannot stop it," the voice replied. Amara felt something wrap around her ankle. She looked down quickly. Nothing was there, but she could feel it, tight, cold, holding her. "Grandma!" she cried. The old woman quickly grabbed a small pouch from her wrapper and threw something on the floor. Fine powder spread across the ground. Immediately, the grip on Amara's leg disappeared. She fell to the ground, breathing hard. The room went silent again. The heavy feeling slowly faded. After a few seconds, the door creaked open by itself. This time, nothing followed. The air became normal again. Outside, voices returned. Birds chirped. Life continued. Amara sat on the floor, shaking. Her grandmother helped her stand up. "It is getting stronger," the old woman said. "Why? Why is it not leaving me?" The old woman's face became serious. "Because last night," she said slowly, "you did not just see it." Amara swallowed hard. "Then what happened?" she asked. Her grandmother looked directly into her eyes. "You let it touch your heart." Amara's breathing stopped for a second. Then she whispered, "Can it come back tonight?" The old woman did not look away. "Yes," she said. Amara felt tears roll down her face. And this time, the old woman's voice became low. "It will not stop at your chest." At that same moment, from inside Amara's room, they both heard it again. A knock. That day felt longer than any day Amara had ever lived. Even though the sun was bright and people moved around the village as usual, nothing felt normal to her anymore. Every small sound made her jump. Every shadow made her turn her head quickly. She stayed close to her grandmother, afraid to be alone even for a moment. The old woman did not let her return to her room. "You will not sleep there tonight," she said firmly. "Not after what has started." Amara nodded quickly. She did not argue. Fear had already taken away all her pride. As the day slowly moved, her grandmother began preparing things. She brought out old items Amara had never seen before. Small bags filled with dried leaves, white powder, dark stones, and pieces of cloth tied in tight knots. She placed them carefully around the house. "What are these for?" Amara asked softly. "Protection," the old woman replied. "But protection is not always enough." Amara's heart dropped at those words. "What do you mean?" she asked. Her grandmother looked at her for a long moment before speaking. "That thing has touched you more than once," she said. "It is already close to you. Tonight, it will try to finish what it started." Amara felt cold all over. What happens if it finishes? She whispered. The old woman's voice became quiet. You will not be yourself anymore. Silence fell between them. Amara did not ask more questions. As evening came, the sky slowly turned orange, then dark blue. The sounds of the village began to fade. One by one, people went inside their homes. Doors closed, lights went out. Night had returned. Amara sat close to her grandmother inside the small room. A dim lamp burned between them, casting weak shadows on the walls. The air felt heavy again. Do not sleep, her grandmother said, no matter how tired you feel. Amara nodded. I won't sleep, she replied. But deep inside, she was already afraid, because she could feel it. That same heavy feeling from the night before, slowly coming back. The room grew quieter, then colder. Amara wrapped her arms around herself. Grandma, she said softly, it's starting. The old woman nodded slowly. I know, she said. Then, a knock. The sound came from the door. Amara froze. Her eyes slowly moved toward it. The door was closed, but something was there, waiting. The handle moved slightly. Amara's breathing became fast. It's here, she whispered. Her grandmother stood up slowly, holding a small bundle tightly in her hand. Stay where you are, she said. The door creaked open. Very slowly, the darkness outside looked thick, just like the night before. Then, it entered. Amara felt it before she saw it, that cold, that heavy presence. Her body started becoming stiff again. No, she whispered. Her fingers stopped moving. Her legs became heavy. Her chest tightened. She was losing control again. The thing stepped into the room, tall, thin, silent. Its eyes locked on her immediately, not her grandmother. It smiled. Tonight, it said softly. Amara tried to move. She couldn't. Her grandmother quickly threw the bundle in her hand toward the ground. A sharp smell filled the air. For a second, the thing stopped. Its smile faded slightly. Leave her, the old woman shouted. The thing turned its head slowly toward her. You cannot keep her, it said calmly. Then it stepped forward again, closer, closer to Amara. Amara felt tears fall from her eyes as her body froze completely. She could not even blink properly now. The thing stood right in front of her. It bent down slowly. Its face came very close. Your heart is open, it whispered. Amara felt its hand rising again, long, dark, reaching for her chest. Her grandmother rushed forward quickly, trying to stop it, but suddenly, Amara's body moved, on its own. Her eyes widened in fear. I didn't do that, she thought. Her hand slowly lifted and grabbed the thing's wrist. The room went silent. Even the thing stopped moving. For the first time, it looked surprised. Then, it smiled again, a deeper smile. Yes, it whispered. Amara felt cold spread through her body, not from outside, from inside. And then she heard her own voice, but she was not the one speaking. Don't stop, her voice said softly. Her grandmother froze. Amara? She whispered. But Amara could not answer, because something inside her had already started answering for her. Amara's hand held the thing's wrist tightly, but it was not her strength. She could feel it clearly now. Her body was moving, but she was not the one controlling it. It was like she was trapped inside herself, watching everything happen without being able to stop it. Her grandmother stepped back slowly, fear filling her eyes. Amara, fight it, she said. Amara wanted to answer. She tried with everything inside her, but her mouth moved on its own. I am fine, her voice said softly. That was not how she spoke. The tone was wrong, cold, empty. Tears rolled down Amara's face, even as her lips smiled slightly. Inside, she was screaming. The thing in front of her watched closely. Its eyes did not blink, not even once. It slowly lowered its hand, but it did not leave. Instead, it leaned closer. You see now, it whispered. The door is open. Her grandmother shook her head quickly. No, this is not right. She rushed forward and grabbed Amara's shoulders. Listen to me, she cried. You are still here. Don't let it take you. For a brief moment, Amara felt something, a small spark inside her. Her eyes blinked faster. Grandma, she struggled to say. Hope flashed in the old woman's eyes. Yes, speak, stay with me, she said. But suddenly, Amara's head snapped to the side. The thing moved closer, almost touching her back now. You are weak, it said quietly. She belongs to me now. Amara's mouth opened. She belongs to me, her voice repeated. Her grandmother gasped. No, she shouted. She quickly reached into her wrapper and brought out a small dark stone tied with red thread. Without wasting time, she pressed it against Amara's chest. The reaction was instant. Amara screamed, a loud, painful scream that did not sound fully human. Her body shook violently. The room filled with a strange, low sound, like two voices crying at once. The thing stepped back slightly, its smile fading. Stop, it said sharply. She pressed the stone again harder. Leave her body, she commanded. Amara's hands clawed at the ground. Her eyes rolled upward. Then she gasped loudly. She was back. Grandma, she cried, grabbing her tightly. I'm here, the old woman said quickly. Stay with me. Amara held her, shaking badly. I felt it inside me, she whispered. It was speaking through me. I know, her grandmother said, but you are stronger. But before Amara could feel relief, the room grew cold again, colder than before. Amara loosened her grip. Her grandmother felt it immediately. No, she said. Amara pulled away. Her face slowly lifted, and then she smiled. That same long, unnatural smile. Amara's eyes looked at her grandmother, but they were no longer hers. Why are you fighting? Her voice said softly. Her grandmother stepped back in fear. Amara stepped forward, smiling. You cannot close the door now, she continued. Tears ran down her face, but her smile only grew wider. Then she whispered something that made the old woman freeze completely. Tonight, I will open it fully. The room felt different, not just cold, but wrong. Amara stood in the middle of the room, her body still, her head slightly tilted, and that same unnatural smile resting on her face. Her eyes were open, but there was no fear in them anymore, only emptiness. Her grandmother did not move. She stood a few steps away, watching carefully, her heart beating fast. Amara, she called softly. No answer, only that smile. Then Amara blinked slowly. Once, twice, her lips parted. You should not be afraid, she said calmly. Her voice was soft, but it did not sound like her. It sounded deeper, like two voices were speaking at the same time. Her grandmother shook her head. You are not Amara. Amara took a slow step forward. I am here, she replied. I am inside. The old woman's hands tightened. Leave her body, she said firmly. Amara laughed. It was a low, quiet laugh that did not belong to a human. You are too late, she said. She opened the door herself. Tears suddenly rolled down Amara's cheeks. Her body shook slightly. For a brief second, her expression changed. Grandma, she whispered weakly. Hope returned again. Yes, stay with me, the old woman said. But just as quickly, Amara's face twisted again. Her head snapped back slowly, and her smile returned. She is tired, the voice said. I will help her rest. Amara turned suddenly and walked toward the door. Her movements were slow but steady. Stop, her grandmother shouted. Amara did not stop. She reached the door. Her hand lifted, and slowly, she opened it. Outside was dark, darker than it should be. Even though it was still night, there should have been moonlight. But this darkness was thick, heavy, like something was standing inside it, waiting. Amara stepped closer to the doorway. Her grandmother rushed forward and grabbed her arm. You will not leave this room, she said. Amara stopped. For a moment, she stood still. Then slowly, she turned her head. Her eyes met her grandmother's, and for the first time, there was anger in them. Do not touch me, she said in a cold voice. A strong force pushed the old woman backward. She fell hard to the ground. Amara stepped into the doorway. The darkness outside moved slightly, like it was alive, welcoming her. Come, the voice whispered from outside. Amara smiled wider. I am coming, she replied. Inside her mind, Amara screamed. She could see everything. She could hear everything, but she could not stop her body. Please, stop, she cried inside, but the thing was stronger, much stronger. At that moment, her grandmother shouted loudly from behind her, Amara! The sound echoed sharply. For a second, Amara froze. Her body stopped moving. Her fingers twitched. Her breathing changed. Inside her, something was fighting. Tears poured down her face. I don't want to go, she cried. Her grandmother quickly ran toward her. Fight it, she shouted. Amara screamed loudly. Her body bent forward as if something was pulling her from the inside. Then suddenly, she was thrown backward into the room. She hit the floor hard. The door slammed shut. Bang! Silence filled the room again. Amara lay on the ground, breathing heavily. For a moment, everything was still. Then slowly, she started laughing. A soft, low laugh. Her grandmother froze. Amara slowly sat up, her head lifted, and she smiled again, stronger than before. "You cannot keep her forever," she said. Then she looked directly at her grandmother and whispered, "Tomorrow night, I will not ask." Then it left her. The next day came, but it did not feel like morning. The sun was out, the sky was bright, and people in the village moved around like nothing was wrong. But inside the house, fear sat quietly in every corner. It felt like something was waiting, counting the time. Amara did not speak much. She sat quietly on the floor, her eyes open but distant. Sometimes she blinked slowly, like she was tired. Other times, she smiled softly for no reason at all. That smile scared her grandmother the most, because it was not always Amara smiling. The old woman did not leave her side. She prepared more things, stronger things this time. She drew faint lines on the floor with white powder, placed small stones at the four corners of the room, and tied a red cloth around Amara's wrist. "You must stay inside this circle tonight," she said. "No matter what you hear, no matter what you feel." Amara nodded slowly. "I will try," she said. Her voice sounded weak, but at least it was hers. The day passed slowly, very slowly. Every hour felt heavy. As the sun began to go down, the air changed again. The warmth disappeared, and that same cold feeling returned. The shadows in the room grew longer, darker. Night was coming, and this time, it felt stronger than before. Amara held her chest tightly. "I can feel it," she whispered. "It's closer." Her grandmother nodded. "I know." They both sat inside the circle. The small lamp between them flickered gently. Outside, the village slowly became quiet again. Doors closed. Voices faded. Darkness took over. Then, silence. Deep silence. Amara's breathing became slow. Her eyes moved toward the door. "It's here," she said softly. Her grandmother tightened her grip on the small stone in her hand. "Stay with me," she said. Then, a knock, louder than before. The door shook slightly. Amara's body tensed. Her fingers pressed into the ground. "It's different tonight," she whispered. Her grandmother did not answer. Her eyes stayed fixed on the door. The door began to open by itself, wide, wider, until it stood fully open. The darkness outside was no longer just darkness. It moved, like a living thing, shifting, breathing, watching. Amara felt her body begin to lose control again. "No," she whispered, "not again." Her hands started to shake. The old woman quickly placed the stone on the ground. "Do not step out," she warned. Amara nodded, trying to stay focused. But the voice came again, stronger, clearer. "Come." Amara's head lifted slowly, her eyes fixed on the doorway. Her breathing changed, slow, deep, unnatural. Inside her, she felt it pushing, harder than before. "Come." Her body leaned forward slightly. The circle glowed faintly. Her grandmother shouted, "Stay back!" Amara stopped for a moment. Her fingers dug into the ground. Tears streamed down her face. "I don't want to go," she cried. Then her body jerked suddenly. Her hand moved forward, crossing the line. The moment her fingers touched outside the circle, the lamp went out. Darkness filled the room instantly. Amara screamed, a loud, painful scream. Her grandmother tried to grab her, but a strong force pushed her away. She hit the wall hard. "Amara!" she shouted. Amara's body lifted slightly from the ground. Her back arched. Her eyes rolled upward. Then suddenly, everything stopped. The lamp lit up again on its own. Amara stood in the center of the room, still, silent, her head lowered, her hair covering her face. Her grandmother slowly stood up, breathing hard. "Amara?" she called carefully. Amara did not move. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then very slowly, Amara lifted her head. Her face was calm, too calm. Her eyes looked normal, but something inside them had changed. She smiled softly. "Grandma," she said gently. The old woman's heart jumped. "Amara, is that you?" she asked. Amara nodded slowly. "Yes," she said. She took one step forward, then another. "I'm okay now," she added. Her grandmother hesitated. Something felt wrong, very wrong. "Come," Amara said softly, stretching out her hand. The old woman did not move. Amara's smile grew slightly wider. Then she spoke again, but this time, her voice changed, deeper, colder. "We are okay now." The grandmother's eyes widened in horror. Amara tilted her head slowly and whispered, "The door is open." The room was quiet, too quiet. Amara stood in front of her grandmother, her hands still stretched out, her smile calm but wrong. Her eyes looked normal, but there was something deep inside them, something that did not belong to her. Her grandmother did not move. Fear held her in place. "Amara," she said slowly, her voice shaking, "if you are truly there, step back from the door." Amara's smile did not change. "I told you," she said softly. "I am okay now." Her grandmother's heart beat faster. "No," she whispered, "you are not." For a moment, they both stood still. Then Amara took another step forward. The air in the room grew colder again. "You should not be afraid," Amara said. "There is nothing to fear anymore." Tears filled the old woman's eyes. "I am not afraid of you," she said. "I am afraid for you." Amara stopped walking. Her head tilted slowly to one side. For a brief second, something changed in her face. Her smile weakened. "Grandma," she whispered, her real voice, soft, broken. Hope returned again. "Yes, come back to me," the old woman cried. Amara's body shook slightly. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I'm still here," she said weakly. "It's inside me. It won't leave." Her grandmother rushed forward and grabbed her hands. "We can fight it," she said quickly. "You are stronger than it." Amara looked into her eyes, fear filling her face. "No," she whispered. "It's too strong." Then suddenly the smile returned, wider than before. The thing was back. "No," her grandmother said, stepping back. Amara laughed softly. "You almost lost her," she said. The voice was no longer hiding. It was fully there now. "She is tired of fighting," it continued. "So I will take the rest." Amara's body turned slowly toward the door. The door was still open. The darkness outside was no longer waiting. It was moving. Her grandmother quickly reached for her last item, a small cloth tied tightly with a knot. Her hands were shaking. "This is the last one," she whispered. Without wasting time, she rushed and held her hand. "Leave her!" she shouted with all her strength. Amara screamed, a loud, painful scream that filled the room. Her body shook violently. Her eyes changed. "Grandma," she cried. "I'm here," the old woman answered. "Don't let it take me," Amara screamed. "I won't," her grandmother said. Amara slowly stopped screaming. Her body became still again. The room went silent. Then she smiled, calm, cold, finally. "It's over," she said. Her grandmother stepped back slowly, tears falling down her face. "No," she whispered. Amara took one step toward the door, then another. The darkness welcomed her, wrapped around her feet, her legs, her body. She did not resist anymore. She did not cry. She did not fight. She simply walked forward and disappeared into the darkness. The door slammed shut. Bang! Her grandmother fell to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. "Amara," she whispered, but there was no answer. Days passed. The village searched for her. They found nothing. No footprints, no signs, no body. Only her empty room and the bed, still facing away from the door. But something strange began to happen. At night, people started hearing soft sound, moving from house to house. Tap. A few days later, a young girl in the village decided to move her bed, just a little, facing the door, because the night was hot and she wanted fresh air. As she lay down, she smiled. "It's just a story," she whispered. Then she closed her eyes. The room became quiet, too quiet, and slowly, her eyes opened again. Her body would not move. The door creaked open, and something stepped inside. Some warnings are not meant to scare you. They are meant to protect you. The moment you ignore them, you may open a door you can never close. If you were Amara, would you have believed the warning or ignored it? Do you think Amara is completely gone or still trapped inside? Would you ever sleep facing your door after hearing this story? If you enjoy this story, please share, like, comment, and subscribe for more captivating stories. Love you all.